Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Rich Clark, Guide to the Right Path. I've been a holistic therapist for the last 14, 15 years and a actual hypnotherapist for the last 9 years. So I'm going to carry on the series for the weekends I've been doing, which is to do with essential oils. And this is for the same series, protection and healing. And I'm going to talk about frankincense, which is sacred grounding. Now, frankincense connects both to spirit, easing anxiety, and deepening meditation, and it's used in temples and rituals for centuries. It's both protective and calming. So very much if you use as a diffuser during meditation or prayer, it really is useful. Now, frankincense, I'm going to have some very positive ideas of it because it's actually one of my favorite essential oils. Plus, it's actually one of my favorite resins to use and so forth. So it actually is a resin. It is a resin from a tree called Boswellia cateri or Boswellia sacri or Boswellia, and there's from different regions. It is. So let's explain a few of them. So first one is it's from this gum resin. And it's actually from the various Boswellia species. And the most common species are the following. So the first one is Boswellia sacra. And this is from Oman, Yemen, and southern Saudi Arabia. Now, this is actually where I get this from. This is the resin, frankincense resin, and this is from Oman. And I get this from the frankincense store in London. It's a guy called Shabazz is the owner of it, and I will put a link in my bio. And actually, not my bio, in the actual video itself. So this is actually that is the sacred one. Then we've got Boswellia catera, which is called birdwood, and it's from Somalia. There's also another one called free farina, which is also another one from Somalia. Then there's B. papaferia, which is from Western Ethiopia, and then there's B. cereatia, which is from Western India. So there are different versions of this frankincense. And so we get very confused because if we think about the story, if we understand about biblically about Jesus, we go, oh, frankincense, myrrh, and gold. And actually, what we probably understand is that gold probably could have come from Mali or somewhere like that in Africa, could be one of the three kings. The other one would be that myrrh comes from what we call modern day Somalia, and frankincense could have come from Oman or it could have come from India. Again, there's different things. Also, there's different viewpoints on this, but this is quite an interesting idea. So why we understand about it, where it's from, is most of these are from mountainous areas. And if you can see here, this is where the sap, what they would do is they dig out the sap from the tree and then it's ethically done. So what is it good for? Well, if you notice that frankincense in Neil Jar's remedies is used for aged skin and it's used for toning and invigorating the complexion. Frankincense is also known for helping mature or sun-damaged skin. Frankincense can be used both as an antiseptic, as known for antiseptic, and in anti-inflammatory. And its distinct aroma helps to soothe and calm frayed nerves, making it useful for treating anxiety. So why do we use it in rituals? Well, quite a lot of reasons. It's known to soothe aches and pains. So the actual way of that has been found to ease arthritis and rheumatic pain. Tones the skin, so it rejuvenates the skin qualities, makes it an excellent choice for mature skin to minimize wrinkles and reduce the appearance of blemishes and long-term sun damage. Also, it's known for fighting colds because it actually soothes the mucous membranes, calming and deepening breathing and easing cough, bronchitis, and laryngitis. So when it was burnt in churches, they saw it that it was to clear bad spirits. But also, if people had colds or bringing in viruses, it would cleanse the area of a temple, of a church, of a synagogue, of a mosque, whatever it was. It's used everywhere. Going to Ethiopian churches, it's very strong. They've got like a whole thing with it. And also, frankincense, it can be used for relieving anxiety. It's really useful for that, for increasing the energy and focus and aids meditation. So when you find most people using meditation, they are usually burning frankincense. Now, this I do here, I've got this one here. This is like in a resin. This is like a resin of the frankincense, but I've mixed it with a few other things. So I have cobalt, which is a form of a resin, but this is mainly from Mexican culture, so it's slightly different. Then you've also got Palo Santo. Now, Palo Santo is also a relative of the Boswellia tree. So Palo Santo, when people say, oh, Palo Santo is better than frankincense, it's actually a relative of it, but it's not actually as good. And then you've got its cousin, which is myrrh. Now, myrrh I'm going to talk about in about 3, 4 weeks' time. about myrrh and how special that is. But with frankincense, it also works in many other ways. Like I said, it comes from these areas, but there's so many things with frankincense as well. And I'm going to talk about it in a personal viewpoint of what I've done is because I'm my mum's carer to help her ground at sleeping to protect her because she is vulnerable to spirits and so forth because she's ill. Frankincense grounds the room. We also, if we ever want to connect to guides or anything or spirits, we will burn frankincense and certain things to connect that way. So with meditation every day, when I connect to guides, I will burn meditation. Sometimes at night, if I want to connect to guides to sleep well, I will also burn frankincense. So frankincense to me has a big spiritual meaning. And it to me is one of the essential oils you should use if you ever want to ground. So I would say if you ever come up with the base essential oil of a root chakra blend, frankincense would be the one. I won't tell you the others, but that would be the one of the main ones you could use. And you would use a main base oil, which is also quite grounding. So think about what oil is quite grounded. Yeah, that would really help. Then we've also got to look at a couple other things. So if we're looking at extraction, so extraction is from the steam distillation of the oil. Then we also go into this. It's this energetics. It's also known to soothe the free flow of ki in Chinese medicine. And a lot of things go into this is that it's got so many things that it's been helped for the nervous system. It's actually been shown in studies. They have done studies with people with smelling frankincense, having frankincense caustic in their water, and then that is also then being used for blessing people. And they reckon that has helped people with cancer, things like that. Again, there's still a lot of medical proof to be done on it, but frankincense has a lot of qualities. Another thing also as well is this is like one of my copper pots. So I actually have a few copper pots, and this has got water and frankincense in. So actually, when sometimes, and what you can do is if you've got a cold or you really want to do that, is actually heat this up at the bottom, and you would actually, the frankincense, it would actually create an aroma to help you clear sinuses and all sorts of stuff. So I'm showing a lot of things what frankincense can do. There's also another couple of things which I think is very important. In a diffuser, if you had 3 to 4 drops in a diffuser or an oil burner, that would usually work. I prefer to burn resin with a candle underneath. It's more preferable for me, but also another one with an ointment for anti-inflammatory properties is make it effective to help soothe joints and helping reduce pain is to actually add a few drops in an oil and actually rub it on the joints. It actually really has been known to help a lot of athletes. Also has been known as a massage oil as well. If you really want to ground people in massage, which I recommend you doing, especially with a lot of people in the cities who are very anxious, frankincense is ideal. Now, the other thing that I would say about this as well is you will hear different things. I think personally, for the most sacred of it, the sacra, I would say that is from Oman. I think is the best quality for the resin. When you're getting the essential oil, I think you've got to look at what you want to do. I think if you get it from Oman, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, would be, or Somalia is the best quality. That's what I would suggest. But again, you can find out different things. And again, there's so many variant things. I've heard people get frankincense from Nigeria and places like that. Again, I don't, it's not really historically known for that. But I would also say this is frankincense as a protection and healing, I think is probably one of the most effective essential oils. And as I have said about essential oils, I look at this. It's TLCs, tea tree, lavender, chamomile. I think for helping stimulate the mind would be rosemary. Frankincense, myrrh, I think are really good for grounding. And then I would say tea, and then I would also say into this is it all depends on what other things you want. So with wound healing, tea tree would work with that. Frankincense is very good for that as well. I think another thing as well with frankincense is because also the other thing is what people call frankincense is actually a Latin word. It's actually from the frank incense, the frank with odorless scent. That's actually why it's called frankincense. It's not actually its real original name. It's actually Olybium. That's its original name. But we and a lot of banana. So actually, when people say, "Oh, well, they gave frankincense," it's frankincense. It's the modern day version of it. But if you actually understand the Aramaic Bible, it will actually say olibanum is actually what it's called, and myrrh is another one as well, where myrrh's actually never changed its name. So, and also what we've got to understand is there's a lot of things. So, why is frankincense important? Why is myrrh important? Why is gold important? Well, frankincense is about the birth. It's about the grounding of the birth. Myrrh is about the death. So it's about the idea of cleansing and going to the next plane. And gold is about the life in between. So actually, when people say frankincense, myrrh, and gold, it actually should be frankincense, gold, and myrrh, because it's actually in the timeline of the Holy Trinity. Now, there's another thing as well. We always associate that there was free gifts. Not true. There was actually more than three kings as well, and this is only like two cultures know about this. In fact, one culture lives in Cyprus, and they have actually got a book which actually talks about the 12 kings who visited Jesus. Again, they also gave more gifts, but we know for the for the Holy Trinity is the idea of frankincense, gold, and myrrh. We also know about the other way of the birth, the life, and the death, or we call it the resurrection. So everything is always interlinked. So when we think about frankincense, we have to think of it. Yes, the biblical version has some meaning. Yes, it's got religious connotations, but it's also because it's been used for thousands and thousands of years in Egypt, in India, in Persia, it really has a lot of proof of working. So until next time, or if you're interested in essential oils or you want to know about blends or you want some help about skincare brands, because I've actually used to have my own skincare brand and made it from scratch. I know how to market that, do that, I actually know people who can test your stuff, all them sort of things. If you are interested, please email me at info@richclark.net. My other work is I'm a hypnotherapist. So that is you go to my site and go to www.richclark.net. And until next time, I shall speak to you soon when the next essential oils will be about roots and ancestry. And that will also go more into the idea of more into grounding, stability, and spiritual depth. And actually, spiritual depth, sorry, not depth. And the idea of that is also that frankincense could also have gone into that. But frankincense, I wanted to lead that into the next three. Then, in a few weeks, I will be talking about myrrh, and I'm going to talk about some of the historical reasons of why I use certain essentials, why I've used it, what it's for, how I've used it, and how I've used it with clients in blends. So I'll actually will be explaining blends to you of how I've used it with clients. So if I would say this as a blend, I would recommend if you have a client who has really bad anxiety, they cannot ground, and they're really struggling to meditate. When you're doing massage oil, if you can make a massage blend and then they can take it away in a container and they then can do it on their joints, on themselves, probably just on certain parts of their body, or they can burn it in an oil burner, I'd recommend this. Be frankincense, myrrh, and I would either put in there to calm their brain down, I would look at chamomile or I would look at something like a citrus. Now, when we think of Christmas time, I would say these are very useful. So frankincense, myrrh, clove, which is a cleanser, cinnamon, and then I would put either mandarin or orange. And they would really work really well to help with that sort of thing you're dealing with. And I think if more people burnt that in the house, not just at Christmas time, if they actually burnt it during the year, you'd find a lot of people a lot more tranquil. So that would be it's just one of my recommendations. Anyway, I shall speak to you soon.